Dr. General Health aims to engage and empower you to choose healthy behaviors and make changes that reduce the risk of developing body complications. This is why Health Matters got you covered. Every Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. on MKTV channel, you will have all your health questions answered. I am your host, Apeti Ameka Ivy. Teenage pregnancies remain to be the most disturbing and alarming stories, especially during this COVID-19 period. School closure has cut off girls from teachers who can sound the alarm in suspected cases of abuse of home, and students have been left idle with often busy parents. Government demographic data and health survey of 2014 shows that 15% of girls aged 15 to 19 had already given birth and another 3% were pregnant with their first child. Lack of comprehensive sexuality education in schools that has been caused by the COVID-19 pandemic has immensely contributed to the Kenya alarming numbers. Health Matters went all the way to Butoto East Sub-County, Kakamega County, where Ryle, a 17-year-old girl who is 7 months pregnant, stays. Kenya has recorded an increase in teenage pregnancies ever since in the confirmation of the first COVID-19 case. Ryle, a 17-year-old girl, fourth born of 7, got pregnant while she had gone to visit her grandmother late last year. This forced her to move in with the man, but she was forced to come back home because of the carelessness of the man. As Ryle's mother puts it, the man drinks too much. She goes on and says that the man still doubts if the child is his. Ryle's mother says she has been educating her girl in one of the private schools around, but due to lack of school fees, she was forced to transfer her to a public school. As time went by, her performance was not impressive even to the mother. Ryle's younger ones are in class 8 and 4 consecutively. Ryle's mother continued to insist that she was not aware of Ryle's way to marriage. The 17-year-old had gone through gender-based violence as clearly shown by the marks on her body. Since she came back home, the alleged husband has never been concerned with her whereabouts and how she is faring on. Ryle's mother was therefore forced to take up all the responsibility of her daughter, including clinic visits. She cautiously says that she has always educated her other daughters about safe sex and how to carry themselves around, though she reveals that she has never allowed them to access or use contraceptives as a method of avoiding pregnancy. Pregnant and parenting adolescents are faced with several challenges such as social stigma and lack of emotional support. Babies born to adolescent mothers have much a higher likelihood of dying and are exposed to other life-threatening conditions. Teenage and adolescent pregnancy complications are a major contributing factor to mortality rate among 15 to 19-year-old adolescents and young women. Research has it that younger age, poor social and family support, unstable relationships, and inadequate access to health facilities or to educational opportunities push these adolescents into further psychiatric and health-related morbidities, with poorer outcomes for their offspring. UNESCO 2013 has it that adolescent pregnancy is one of the commonest risk factors exposing young girls to the risk of HIV and sexually transmitted infections. Girls in marriage or union often have older, more sexually experienced husbands or partners, lack of power to negotiate safer sex, and have little access to family planning and information. Today, Health Matters is having Harriet Nyaga, who's a sexual reproductive and health advocate and is here to expound to us the whole topic of teenage pregnancies. Remember, this is Health Matters with me, Apetsi Ameka Ivy, coming to you every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. If you haven't liked our Facebook page, run to Facebook, MKTV channel. Follow us on Twitter at MKTV254. Follow us on Instagram at MKTV_channel254 and subscribe to our YouTube channel, MKTV channel.
Ms Harriet Nyaga. As you just heard, I'm a youth advocate on matters reproductive health, and I'm happy to be here today.
Karibu sana. So, teenage pregnancies, who is to blame?
Teenage pregnancies, who is to blame? Do you really have any specific person that we can blame? In
That
my
is the
opinion,
question.
no. We don't have any specific person that we can blame. I just think it's a personal responsibility for each and every single person in the community, in the society, and in our country at large to ensure the teenage pregnancy number goes down. It's not a 1 month's responsibility. It's a team's responsibility. And therefore, each and every one of us has a role to play.
The reason why I'm asking you this, and I think I told you this, in some part of the country, I was reading this somewhere, that kids, teenage girls are now being forced to get married to the perpetrators, for lack of a better word, or the people who have them, the pregnancies. Is that right? Because I think that clearly shows that we are blaming the girls.
Like forcing a girl, remember, this is just a teenager. She's only a teenager. And probably, teenagers, how old are they? The oldest teenager, I think it's 19. Yeah. So imagine you're forcing this kid to get married, and they're not even ready for marriage. They don't even know what a marriage entails. They just found themselves pregnant. Should we really just force them to get married? Marriage is not just a simple thing like eating donut or something. It's something that is complex. So why force this girl to get married to the perpetrator? Maybe the parents are doing this to scrap up the shame or something. But then again, why? Even if maybe there is that shame in the community, like, your girl got pregnant, she's still young, she's unmarried. So, and you think getting the kid married will scrap up the shame? Like, how? No, it's not going to scrap up the shame. Actually, it's going to be adding more load on you as a parent. You just find that that parent who got the kid married at a very young age, this kid will be able to blame you. Like, if this kid got married, why not let them go, get to term, deliver the kid, get them back to school? Why not do that?
And since, when the pandemic started, the COVID-19 pandemic started, the levels or the numbers of teenage pregnancies, they are increasing day in, day out. And Kakamega also has been on, the numbers have been rising over and over again. What do you think might be causing this?
The rising number of teenage pregnancies. For one, these kids are actually idle. They don't have something to keep them busy. And as you always hear that an idle mind is the devil's action, they are so much at home, nothing to do. They don't have anything to engage them. Other days when there wasn't this pandemic, they used to be engaged in school and other school stuff. But right now they're finding themselves at home. And then another thing, they're lacking information. They don't have information. And then there is the hormones part. So they just feel like engaging in sex. They don't know how to practice safe sex. So they have all the time to practice this sex, and it's actually unsafe sex. So you're getting me? It's a matter of, I'm very free. I don't have anything that is keeping me engaged. And I don't even know that I can actually practice safe sex. So I just know it's just sex. I just want to have fun. So I have fun at the end of the day. There goes me with pregnancy. And besides that, there are also cases of, you find the relatives at times, or even the friends. These kids are spending so much time with the relatives, maybe the dads, the uncles, the brothers, and sometimes you find that that there is sometimes you find that rape cases happening, not from someone from outside, but someone from actually within the family. So I find maybe an uncle, like he's left behind with a kid who is just maybe 10 years, 12 years, and then they're like, can I buy you something? Like maybe, this small stuff, maybe can get you a phone, a primary, a class 8 kid should be like, whoa, I'm getting a phone. And boom, the kid just accepts. And that's how they end up getting pregnant. So there is the factor of being free, having nothing to do. Then there is the lack of information. Then there is also these cases of GBV happening at home. So yeah.
So you've been an advocate for a number of years.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but you've been seeing, educating, giving information to these kids.
Yeah.
What is the place of the boy child? Because I think he's also supposed to know.
Yeah.
He's also largely engaged or involved in this.
The piece of the boy child in this issue that we do have. The boys too, I think it's important that we do engage the boys in the conversation that we're having. And it's good that they get this information because, these girls who are getting them pregnant. It's not even most of the time, it's usually the boys. Yes. And what age category is it that, as in when you are not ball? So you find it's just this, their age mates. You're getting the age mates are the ones who are getting them pregnant. I was speaking on some time back. I was speaking to a group of young boys, and they were telling me that it's the girls' responsibility to make sure they don't get pregnant. That is what they have in their minds. It's the girls' responsibility
because
to
the girls
ensure,
at the end of the day are the ones who carry the pregnancy.
Yeah, they are like, it's the girls' responsibility to make sure they don't get pregnant. But whose sperm is getting this girl pregnant? It's the boy's sperm. So the boy should actually know what should they do to not get this girl pregnant. They should know there is something called safe sex. At least they can maybe use condoms. They can also know something about if this girl is unsafe, she's ovulating. If I have sex with her, she's going to get pregnant. Am I ready to be a daddy? No. So if not, what should I do? Either abstain or practice safe sex. Yeah.
And do you think there is need for CSC, comprehensive sexuality education? Because I think that is also one thing that has been neglected. And it's key, it's very important, and it's so evident that people are lacking information. Is there a need for CSC?
There is a need for comprehensive sexuality education because I believe information is power. The moment you're informed, you know what I'm supposed to do, you know how things are supposed to do. If I happen to engage in sex and I'm ovulating as a girl, I'm going to get pregnant. When you have that information, at least you're going to stay away, you're going to abstain from having sex at that time, or at least practice safe sex. Then when you have the information, you at least know if I don't do this, this is not going to happen to me. And if I happen to do this, this is going to happen to me. But then imagine a girl who is just there. She doesn't even know something. She doesn't even know that there is something like menstruation to start with. See, our school systems, like the education system in Kenya, we usually taught about menstruation in class, somewhere around class 6, if I remember well. Yeah, the reproductive system. I think it comes in around class 6.
Yes.
And some girls start menstruating as early as class 4. Some even in class 3. But at least a good number of them, class 4, 5, they're usually menstruating. So what happens to those girls? These girls, you find at home, the parents don't give them any information. They don't even tell them, at this, you get to some stage and you started experiencing something called menstruation. So the girls, you find they're at home, the girl has started menstruating and then she sees blood in her pants and she's like, oh my God, I'm sick. She starts crying. She doesn't even know what to do. She's even shy to go face people, her confidence is gone. She's like, what's wrong with me? But what are they lacking? It's information. They don't have information that I am actually menstruating. This is called menstruation and it's actually normal to every girl, or maybe some of them are able to even hide. The first time they get the menstruation, they hide it. So you find for the rest of the month, see, it's just like a 3-4 days affair. They're able to hide it successfully from the parents. So the mom never finds out that actually my girl is menstruating. Then comes the next month, she starts menstruating again, and she doesn't even know. She starts getting worried. What is wrong with me? And then comes in the factor of do these girls know how the cycle is? There is something called menstruation, and besides that, there's something called ovulation.
Yeah.
And during this period, you can actually get pregnant if you have unprotected sex.
Mhm.
So if this girl doesn't even know there is something called ovulation, she just know. Some of them just know, oh, nanyesha, niko na period yangu hiyo. That's all they know. And besides that, she doesn't know that with periods comes something called ovulation. And with ovulation comes something called fertilization. And with fertilization comes to something called pregnancy. You see how they're falling in place, they're following each other. So she just knows, I'm just having my periods. She doesn't know anything besides that. Don't you think it's important for this girl to at least have the information? She knows at least if I'm experiencing my menses, there is a chance at some point of the month I'll be ovulating. And at this point, if I have sex with a boy or with a man, I'm going to get pregnant. You see? So this girl doesn't have that information. The boys too. They just know mademu ananyesha. He doesn't know that. He just has that mentality of, as long as this girl, we just small, I'm just like, I'm in primary, she's in primary, there's no way she can get pregnant. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter the class you're in. What matters is your body ready for you to get pregnant? You see? So this boy is just like, mimi ni mdogo sana, sperm yangu haiwezi pea msichana mimba. So you find that this guy, he'll just be like, siwezi mpea ball. So he just goes with the girl, convinces this girl, sisi ni wadogo sana, kuna kitu ta happen. And then there is also this thing of kids saying that if you use a condom, you're going to get pregnant. I don't know. It's so funny it's funny at the same time sad. Yeah. Because where do they get this idea of using a condom to get you pregnant? Do they even know how a condom works? Do they? They don't, because
and actually I think, was it last week or the other week?
Yeah,
I saw you all over social media educating young boys and men out there, somewhere in the village, how to use a condom.
Yeah. The reason we had actually an activity, it was a community outreach. Yeah. So we were reaching the young people with information out there, and among the information we're giving out to them was condom education. Because the data is just like, it's very important for these young people to know how to use, not just how to use a condom, but how to use a condom well, correctly. Because you have to use it correctly for it to work the right way. Okay, as I happen to converse with them, you hear some of them say, "Oh, I don't trust these girls. They call them minji. So I don't trust this. Yeah, I don't trust these minjis, these muddy surfaces. So I used 2 condoms. And
2?
Yeah, 2. So 2 condoms, and I was like, okay, you're using 2 condoms, all right? But don't you know that this is rubber and this is rubber? So rubber against rubber, there is that friction. It's going to burst. And then when it bursts, maybe you just be telling yourself, I've used a condom, she can't get pregnant. It bursts. So what's next? Pregnancy. What happens next? It's a pregnancy. And besides that, there is something called infections too. What is going to happen to you? You're going to get those infections. And at the end of the day, then some of them were like, okay, mimi nikisivaa CD peke yangu, pia lazima buy CD. So dem ako na female condom, and then the Charlie has the male condom. Rubber against rubber, busting. You see, the friction, and then the day just bursts. Is it effective? No. Is it used correctly? No. Then some of them, they don't even know, they just asking, why do you even have to pinch the tip of the condom? Why do we have to pinch that place? And they're like, does it even make sense, or is it just like a swag?
So all these were questions that you were finding.
Yeah, these are the questions that the young boys were asking me. Like, what's the essence of pinching the tip? But something they don't know is, if you don't hold that place, it just, the air gets in. And the moment the air gets in, that means there will be air. And then when it comes to ejaculating, they will be fight for space. That is the air, and at the same time, that is the sperms. They're fighting for space. One of them has to pay for the other one. So you have to at least, that is why it's important for that place. That's why we're pinching, to ensure that there is no air space. Yeah.
So you've been an advocate also, and as far as I know, advocacy doesn't end.
Yeah. It's a continuous process.
It's a continuous process. Yeah. So you say that there is need for CSC to these kids in schools. what about the parents? Because, look at this case. COVID-19 started in March. Students were forced to come back home.
Yeah.
Right? So they've been home all along. This is September. They're still home. There's no CSE. There's sex education.
Yeah.
So if not the parents, who else? So is there a need for also the parents to be given information or to be taught?
On that, some organizations, so far as I know, FHK and Rural to Global, they're having organizations. But of course, it's not every young person that has a phone. It's just a number of them. But at least those with phones are able to access the information still, like on the online platforms. There, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, we have tweet chats and then some like WhatsApp sessions with those who have phones. But then how about those who don't have phones and they're at home and they need this information? That is where the parent comes in. Because, like the parent is the person who is with these kids, like most of the time, at least in a 24-hour clock. They're with this kid for at least 12 hours. You see, at least half of that time, they're with this kid. So then they're the only ones who can actually pass this information to the young people. You as a parent, I know that the African society is kind of rigid towards this, very rigid about sexual matters, especially they're very, very sensitive and very rigid. So like you'll find parents arguing, my mother never told me this. Your grandma never spoke to me about this. So why should I be talking to you about sexual matters? My mother never told me about sex and stuff, but I never got pregnant. Why can't you? Back in those days, it used to be like very easy. The abstinence was very high, and like today, where cases of sex, they can people being sexually active is very high. This is attributed to like if you come on social media, they're contributing. Like the young people are happening to engage in sex at a very early age. And then like when you look at like Kitambo, people used to get married too at an early age.
Very early.
16, 17, 18 year old, you're already married off. So when if you're married at that time, that's when most young people start being sexually active. So when you become sexually active, you're already married, so it won't be an issue. But now you're finding that there is the education system where most people graduate at 22, 23, 24. So imagine this person who is graduating at 24, they became sexually active at 16.
Way back.
And that means that it has been a whole whopping 8 years of being sexually active. And this person, 8 years is not a short time. There is that possibility chance that they're going to get pregnant along the way if they don't have the right information. You see? So like it matches. The parents should adapt to the changing times. They should accept the fact that we're no longer living in the old days. This is a new era. New things are happening. They should appreciate the fact that kids are getting sexually active early and like step up, speak to them. You don't even have to use the big terms, even the simplest of terms. As long as the kid understands, this is what is happening and I'm changing. I don't want to use the word, it doesn't sound like that. Yeah, they come change. Things are happening to me. My body is changing, and they should embrace those changes in a manner that I won't compromise myself on my future. So,
do you advocate for contraceptives?
Contraceptives. I believe that the parents are
to the teens, that is.
To the teenagers. Yes. To the teenagers, yeah, I think contraceptives are important because it's not every kid that it's be able to. Person that can know how to. I don't know. Some people, although they have other things that are engaging them. Like take for instance a class 8 kid. Then and sick and yeah, even they just they're no way. Most of the time where do these young people, the class 8s, the form 1, the form 2s, when do they engage in sex? Of course they can't go to their parents' homes. So where does it happen? And stuff, the other bushes. So you find that these kids, when they happen to be in that position, so if this kid they don't have access to a condom, and number 2, they actually fear to go get these condoms, And another thing is the fact that they can't go to their parents' homes, and they don't even have time to remember to count their safe days. So they don't even know anything like about safe days. Okay, maybe they know about safe days, but they don't even have time to, they don't remember to even count them. So this kid, why not be on contraception? And that way they're going to be like free from teenage pregnancies.
So you advocate for that?
Yeah, I do advocate for that.
Without consent?
Without their parents' consent? Well, maybe I would say the parents' consent is important to some extent, yes, because these kids are usually sometimes they do take advantage of the fact that the parent doesn't know, and when they do take advantage, sometimes they just go, as long as I know someone. Say for instance, someone in Form 4s are mostly around 17, 18. About that 17, 16, 17, yeah, 16, 17. A 17-year-old in, I think the Kenyan constitution doesn't consider them adults. Yeah, so in that case, some of them happen to know people in KMTC. Yeah, they know someone. I know someone who is in KMTC. So this person at KMTC can actually access these contraceptives and can actually help me out. They're very specific on what they want. So I'm like, I want this. They don't even want any blood test or blood pressure test or anything or weight test, nothing. I just want an implant, and that's what they want. And because this is their friend, I could see this girl wants this. Why don't I just give it to her? You see,
so the service provider is forced to just give it up.
Yeah, of which in this case, actually, I would call it like KMTC. Sometimes you just find just a friend. So I think the parental consent to some extent is good because it will put some limits, some boundaries so that these kids don't take advantage of the contraceptives. Yeah.
So I think we should come to an end of this conversation. But again, as we wind up, what do you think are the solutions once again?
The solutions?
Yes. Because we really need to flatten this curve of teenage pregnancies. Yeah. I've had a parent who was really complaining of her kid, a class 8 kid, who's all over the phone, all over her phone, and to some extent she found some messages, blah blah blah. Maybe these people meet somewhere, So I was asking myself, is it her own problem? Because why is she allowing the kid to take her phone? But again, we live in a digital world. Yeah. You can't deny these kids' phone.
Yeah, actually, see, right now they're actually even studying using phones.
Yeah, they're studying online. But it's not even online. They're in WhatsApp groups and they chat there, they meet there, they watch pornographies and stuff. What do you think should be done?
Well, there is, if the parent was complaining about the kid having a phone and doing all that stuff, as a parent, this is your kid, remember? Why don't you, give them that phone, yes, but they should know their boundaries. You should also be aware of whatever your kid is doing on the phone. You don't just give your kid the phone, they lock themselves up in their rooms, and you don't even check what they're actually doing, You should at least if let's say your kid tells your mom, I want to use your phone to study. So you give them the phone. They're going, maybe some of them are going to study, a good number will study, but then there is the few who won't study actually. So monitor what your kid is doing with the phone. And then, as a parent, peer, you should talk to your kid. This is your child, speak to them. They're going to listen to you. And, it's usually good. I don't know if it's everyone that feels this way, but I feel like I trust my parents. So when they tell me something, I trust it's for my own good. And I trust that they're actually telling me, the right thing. They're guiding me towards the right direction. So as a parent, you have the role to guide this young person to the right direction. Give them information. Don't let them go search for this information from social media. Don't let them go to find for this information. They look for this information from outside sources. Give them this information. You as a parent. So, and then besides that, we as the advocates here, there is that thing of whenever you get a chance, when you meet these young people, give them that information that they do need. If you have even sometimes you find these young people, they are in our area we can't even access something like condoms. I think they should be provided for. They should know at least where can I get a condom in case I want it. In case let me use the term need. in case I need a condom.
Yeah.
Where can I access it? Because some of them, yes, they know I should be using a condom, but do they know where they can access it? Yeah. Then the government should at least try to, the policies, at least be flexible to include like something like the comprehensive sexuality education, at least let it be implemented.
Important.
Yeah. And then the stakeholders too, at least when we have the time with these kids, at least try talk to them, give them the right information, give them the right direction. And then it comes to the community itself. Let's stop with the stigmatization of these young people. If a young person feels like I should be on contraceptive, and then the parent feels like it's okay for my kid to have contraceptive with them, like let them be. Let's stop being so judgmental. She just kaneni kamalaya. I've heard that term, and it's so that term is like kind of, if someone called me that, I wouldn't feel good. So yeah, even if I had an FP method and then someone said I'm promiscuous, I think if it was an implant, I would get it like clapped up the same day. So we as the community, the society, let's stop with the stigmatization towards the kids who are accessing contraceptives. Yeah, that way it will be easier for them to access the contraceptives.
Closing remarks.
Just urge each and every one of us, me, you, them, everyone, just take it as a personal responsibility to, make sure, do something about the teenage cases. Don't let the cases rise. Do something that would actually bring the number down. And don't stop pointing fingers. Like, help the blame game. The blame game won't help. It's upon you to take action, at least for some change to happen. Be the change that you want to see.
Awesome.
Take responsibility.
Be the change you want to see. Take responsibility. That has been Harriet Nyaga from a sexual reproductive health advocate, and we are feeling that the change has begun because it's you and me who are supposed to stop the stigma and to help flatten the curve of teenage pregnancies in our country. You have been watching Health Matters with me, Pepsi, Amaka Ivy. Until Thursday, have a good night.
Raising awareness about your general health aims to engage and empower you to choose healthy behaviors and make changes that reduce the risk of developing body complications. This is why Health Matters got you covered. Every Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. on MKTV channel, you will have all your health questions answered. I am your host, Apetsi Ameka Ivy.